A next major cause of self-doubt that's not related to skill is a lack of clarity around how success is defined. Hey dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to the Confident Dancer YouTube channel or podcast if you're listening there. Today I'm going to talk about self-doubt and specifically why increased skill as a dancer doesn't actually fix self-doubt most of the time. And I'm going to explain why that is so you can get clear on where this self-doubt is coming from for you if you've been really held back by a lot of self-doubt, whether it's stopping you from dancing fully, being seen, standing in the front. Maybe it's making performing really anxiety-inducing and stressful, nerve-wracking for you. Self-doubt has all sorts of effects on us as dancers, and knowing how to manage it starts with knowing where it's coming from. So that's what I'm going to break down today, and I really hope you enjoy. First, I want to make clear that though it's a common, I think what I've witnessed is that it's quite a common assumption that you won't doubt yourself anymore when you're just a better dancer. But actually, I've seen the opposite be true. Especially in my coaching practice, I see a lot of dancers be more accomplished than they've ever been in their lives, more skilled than they've ever been in their careers, but more doubtful than ever. Why? Because of a variety of factors. For one, the more skill you have, usually the better opportunities you get. What does that mean? More responsibility. With increased responsibility, like more difficult roles, being more visible, you then feel like the stakes are higher for you. When the stakes are higher for you, like success feels harder to reach and failure feels more likely, understandably, that creates some doubt. Also, when you're a highly skilled dancer, you end up getting put into better and better environments with better and better dancers around you. That leads you to feel like, what do I really have to offer? Can I really do this? So-and-so seems totally confident. They seem like they can do it. Maybe something's wrong with me. It tends to lead to a lot of self-doubt. So those are just some of the factors. I'm going to get into more, but I just wanted to go ahead and mention that out the gate, that skill doesn't necessarily just magically resolve self-doubt. So through going through these points in the video, you're going to start to see not only where this self-doubt actually comes from, but I'm going to give you a couple hints and tips on how do you actually start to resolve it for yourself. So here are the main causes of self-doubt that I've witnessed in dancers as I've been a mindset coach for dancers for the last 6 years. I've worked with dancers from all over the world, pre-professional, professionals in top companies, recreational dancers, and here are the common root causes I've observed from talking to hundreds of dancers. Number one, overly high and rigid expectations. This is a tough one because especially in dance, I mean, my context is I'm a ballet dancer and I primarily work with ballet dancers. That's the world that I usually dwell in terms of the broader dance world. But yeah, it can feel so, it is so reinforced in our culture that we can't mess up, that we have to do our personal best all the time, that we have to do whatever's asked of us perfectly the first time. And I get this because it's coming from a value for excellence. The thing is, sometimes what we are taught, consciously or subconsciously through example, is that we have to have such insanely high expectations of ourselves all the time, or else we won't be motivated, or else we won't work hard, and then we'll get lazy, and then we'll fail, and then we won't be good at whatever the fear is. But if you actually stop to examine what your expectations of yourself are, like the real ones, if you're really, really honest with yourself, a lot of times dancers will end up telling me things when I ask them this question, like, I feel like I can't mess up. I always have to perform my best. I always have to know what I'm doing. I need to be getting positive feedback consistently, or else that means something's wrong. And though there is certainly truth and benefit to each of those things, like, would it be great if you performed your personal best every single day? Would it be great if you never messed up? Sure. But Is it reasonable? Sometimes our expectations are so high that we feel doubtful of our ability to meet the expectations. So what I say is that when your expectations are so high that all you see is the gap between where you feel you are and where you feel you should be, that's disempowering. It's going to create more doubt than motivation. It's not going to be helpful. So I encourage you to examine your expectations and make sure they are reasonable enough to where you feel you can actually meet them. The second cause of self-doubt that I see the most often is deeply embedded negative beliefs about yourself. Okay, this is so common that we have some sort of belief like, I started late, so I'll always be the underdog. I don't have legs like this, so I need to work twice as hard as everyone else. Or it's this general belief that you're not good enough. If you're carrying that belief with you constantly, whether it's subconsciously, it feels true, like you're not consciously aware that you believe that, but your actions are showing that's actually how you feel, that does feel true for you, which is, by the way, a big indicator of what you actually believe is how you act and what you actually feel is true, not the statements that you would verbally agree with. Those are just the beliefs you would like to have. Another reason that self-doubt comes up that's not necessarily related to skill is unresolved negative past experiences that you are afraid will repeat themselves. If every time you go to perform, you're thinking, what if that time in the past where I made a really embarrassing mistake on stage, what if it happens again? Doubt often shows up in the form of what if thoughts, like, what if this happens? What if this bad thing happens? What if I can't do this? What if negative what ifs. And so a lot of times we did have, if you're experiencing a lot of self-doubt, especially in high pressure situations, if you've had experiences in the past where something happened that you're like, I really hope that doesn't happen again. That was so scary. That was so embarrassing, or whatever it was. Then it is really important to actually process and resolve those past experiences. Now, that's something that I'm trained to do as a coach. I walk dancers through that all the time. But to give you and of course, I welcome that if you want to work on that with me, then I'm happy to support you through that. If you want to try doing it on your own, it's really important to actually identify the specific memories where these unresolved past experiences happened, and go back into it and start to ask questions like, okay, instead of forming this belief like, that is so likely to happen again, or I can't do XYZ because I failed that one time. Those are distortions of the truth. Those are simplified beliefs that your mind created from those intense emotional experiences. So practicing objectivity, like, okay, what else could have been true about that situation? Maybe you just were experiencing more stress than you ever had before, and you didn't yet have the skills to know how to cope with that. So maybe it's not that you're incapable, you just hadn't managed that level of stress before, so on and so forth. So start to bring objectivity and a different perspective into those past memories, and then start to ask a question like, what can I learn from that past experience in order to move forward without so much fear? A next major cause of self-doubt that's not related to skill is a lack of clarity around how success is defined. Okay, what do I mean by this? This could apply to success generally, like what you believe success means for you. How do you define that overarchingly? But more specifically, I want you to think of the scenarios in which you experience the most self-doubt and ask yourself, how am I defining success for that situation, whether it's performing or auditioning? A lot of times we have this idea that success to us is just doing our best. But when you pause to think about it, I harp on this all the time, what does that even mean to do your best? For a lot of dancers, subconsciously, that just means making no mistakes. That is an unrealistic expectation. It's high, it's too rigid of an expectation. When the expectation is too high and too rigid, usually we doubt our ability to be successful. So if you stop to clarify, how am I defining success, and make sure it's not only a reasonable and achievable thing. It might be a push, it might be a challenge, but it's within reach. but also make sure that your definition of success is meaningful to you. It's compelling personally. Those two factors help you to have this sense of clarity and, okay, this is what I'm going out there to do. And it gives you much more conviction and confidence about your ability to achieve that success, because when you know the specific destination, and you could then identify some clear action steps that you could take to help achieve that success, then you will feel much more certain and confident of your ability to achieve the success you want. When success is defined too vaguely, it's almost like you're a runner trying to win a race, but you don't know where the finish line is. It'd be almost impossible to win. It's like hidden in the forest somewhere, or the line is so diffused you don't even know if you passed it or not. If success is defined too vaguely, you will doubt your ability to achieve success because it feels so unclear and confusing as to how you would actually do that. When the destination is clear, you can then clarify your action steps to get there. Then you can focus on confidence in your plan, and self-doubt around you generally isn't as likely to creep in. A next major cause of self-doubt that I've noticed in dancers is one that is rarely talked about, which is a hyper-fixation on the self. Okay? Usually when we're doubting ourselves, we're in what I call me city, okay? We're focusing on, what do people think of me? What do I think of me? How am I dancing? What's wrong with me? We make all of our flaws and our failures so personal, and we get so focused in on ourselves that maybe, I hope this makes sense, maybe it won't, but when I talk to dancers and I coach them on how to resolve self-doubt, usually one thing that really surprisingly helps them to overcome the self-doubt is starting to feel connected to the environment around them, the people around them. Maybe if you are performing and you're experiencing a lot of self-doubt around performing, whether you are doing a solo or you're in the core, doesn't matter. If you start to see it as a group effort where you are all contributing to this performance, it takes away from that view of like, it's all up to me and everyone's watching me and I have to be perfect. It's like, no, it's not just about you, okay? If you get in me city, a lot of self-doubt festers in me city. That's my favorite way to put it. So if you even just feel connected to the audience, connection diffuses that doubt. Okay, I'll leave it simple. Maybe it makes sense to you. Maybe it won't until you try it, but try it and let me know how it goes. The last factor that creates a lot of self-doubt I will mention today is a phobia of mistakes. If you focus way too much on them, like don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up, and you also give them a lot of power in your mind, like your perspective around mistakes is, they mean that I'm a bad dancer. They make other people think I'm a bad dancer. One mistake ruins the whole performance. If you consciously or subconsciously hold perspectives like that around mistakes, you will have so much fear around making one mistake that your brain will start to be like, oh no, making a mistake, that's a threat. I need to look out for the threat. And then it's going to hyper-fixate on don't mess up, don't mess up. What happens when we get in the don't mess up mentality? We're not focused enough to actually deliver the performance we want to deliver. It steals from our focus. So in order to release self-doubt, it's so helpful to change your relationship with mistakes. That's another big thing I coach dancers on in the Confident Dancer Coaching Program. So anyway, I will leave that at this today. Please let me know if you felt that this episode was helpful. I would love to hear. I really hope you enjoyed. Again, if you want individual support in overcoming the self-doubt that's been holding you back, definitely click the link down below to theconfidentdancer.com. Look up the Confident Dancer Coaching Program, learn more about it there, schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me to talk about your personal goals and challenges, and we'll see if the program is genuinely a good fit for you. I do not recommend it to people who aren't a good fit. I genuinely won't recommend it to you if I don't feel like it will absolutely serve you and your goals, so absolutely no risk. Let's chat, okay? So again, hope you really enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.